And he did the show for the last 3 times, so you know him quite well. He's been on the Senior Report for over 10 years. This guy does the job. John Hamels, Doc Hamels, you're on.
Well, good morning, everyone, and good morning, Reed, and thank you for that nice introduction, and welcome back. You're looking very healthy and chipper. Well, Reed, as far as I'm concerned, here in Western New York, the fall officially took place at about 6:54 this morning at my house when I had to flip the switch on the furnace. It was just a little too cool to be running around at 65 degrees in the house. It just was damp and cold.
About 48 degrees.
Well, I'm talking about inside the house. Outside the house, I'm not sure what it was.
Well, my house kind of resonates with the whole temperature.
Well, anyways, I want to point out just a few things. I mentioned this last week when I was here about HEAP applications. Now, you know, Reed and I were talking about this before the show. Depending on your income, depends on your eligibility and so forth. But HEAP is an opportunity for folks that are over 60 years old to get some financial help for your heating bills. Now, maybe you've just turned 60 and this is new to you. Some people I've talked to, they don't even know about it, and they're over 60. But let's tell you a little bit about this. Under this program, eligible individuals can receive a one-time only payment. It helps you with your heating cost. And we certainly don't want people to get buried in their heating bills this year. And if you're eligible, you fill out an application. They're going to be opening up applications for what they call regular HEAP as opposed to emergency HEAP on November 16th. You fill that out. And if you're a first-time applicant, get your application by contacting Senior Services Office over at the Office of the Aging in Mayville. And if you want a phone number, it's 753-4471. And, check it out. You'd be surprised that you might be eligible for, maybe a couple $100s or more or less. Depends on your joint income. And so that's just something that you might want to take a look at. This winter, we have no idea, of course, what the heating costs are going to be. But in the past, was it last year? It was pretty cold, if I remember right. And
the average person was paying about $1,500 to $2,000 for their heat. And if you're on a low income, or if you're on Social Security and that's it, and the Congress in their wisdom is not giving you a COLA, so at this point,
might as well get your COLA this week, huh? Get it somehow or another. If you had HEAP before, my understanding according to this article is that they are sending you out a new application, and so just fill it out and get it in. And of course, if you didn't get that application for whatever reason, give the office a call. Another thing I wanted to mention, here in Chautauqua County as well as Erie County, there's October, I believe, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and tomorrow, hopefully, the weather is not going to look anything like today, but it doesn't look that promising according to what I've been reading. But I'll be up in Buffalo in front of the Hyatt Regency, or the Hyatt. Is it Regency? Hyatt. It's the Hyatt. And Bill Jola, my musical partner, will be playing for the folks as they walk by. They're calling for 10,000 walkers tomorrow. So hopefully, if it's not blowing rain and miserable, Bill and I will be playing Irish tunes for the folks.
Doc and Bill, you play Irish music.
We play Irish music all
You
the
do
way.
Danny Boy, right?
I do Danny Boy, I do.
Fantastic.
Yeah. We just played last night at a little place that maybe you've heard of. It's called 21 East. It's a program for adult literacy, and we played for tips, and the tips go to donations over there. But tomorrow, Buffalo, taking strides against breast cancer. If you're interested, if you want to do a local walk, from what I'm told, it's at Jamestown Community College on the 17th. So, Reed, it's a lot of things going on this month, and bundle up. Back to you.
Okay, great. And seniors, John did mention the HEAP. It's not heat like temperature. It's HEAP, like a big pile. And it's a program, and he gave you the senior number. That's the Office of Aging for Mayville. And I'll give that to you again, 753-4471. Apply. I think you can have over 40, 50,000 or something income, and 40 anyway, and you can still qualify for some of the funding. And it could take the pressure off, and hopefully you'll be able to avoid freezing to death. Actually, that's not so funny. Every year they find a number of frozen seniors who run out of heat, don't have any temperature change, they don't have anybody they can call, and they just sit there until they freeze. It's happened. This is not a joke. So make sure you get your heat going, And if you do have run out of heat, call someone immediately. If nothing else, call 911. Tell them you're freezing. There's no heat. And you will probably get a HEAP grant, because in most cases you qualify for it when you get down to the point where you can't afford the oil and the gas. It's a sad situation. Now shortly, we're waiting for our guest, who apparently was delayed, but John and I are going to talk a little bit about travel, because I just came back from traveling. I'm an inveterate traveler, and so is John. Now, one of the things that's very popular in this country is cruising. And I'll tell you something, it's cheap. You can take a week in Bermuda, which I just did, and you can go off, get on down to New York. You can get down there several ways. You can take Amtrak, which is not my favorite. My favorite is a Magnabus, which goes out of the Buffalo Airport right to Penn Station. You take a cab from Penn Station over to the ship, and it costs about $10, $12, and you can. The trip down is only 7.5 hours. They have these magnificent giant buses, and it runs about $95 for a round trip. So it's easy to get to New York. Go out of New York. The cost for an average person is about $600. You can't beat that. $600. So it's very little expense for a week. Sailing, you get a cabin, beautiful little cabin. You get eloquent surroundings. And also, you get food 24/7 around the clock. You can eat at fancy restaurants and get gourmet food. It's just incredible. What an adventure. You have entertainment ongoing all the time, all day. You go to exotic islands. You go to Bermuda. You go to the Bahamas. You can go to the Caribbean and sail around to different countries. It's just for $700 a piece for a week. You can't beat it. You take a cabin for two, it runs about $1,200, $1,400, and you can get discounts. And if you're really interested, I'll tell you how to get a discount. You can knock off about $200 from that in a week if you want to. I go NCL, which gives you rewards. Once you've cruised with them, they'll knock $100 off if you agree to sail within 4 years. You can't beat that. And you have to put up $250. That's your deposit, but they give you $100 back right away. So there's $100, and you go on a Cruise Compete, which is an interesting site for you travelers who like to cruise or go to resorts. They'll always knock $100 off. They're not allowed to discount the price of the ship line, but they can give you what they call onboard credit, which you can use when you're on board, and you'll certainly use it, believe me. Well, I got my guest here, and this is a substitute guest. What happened to our current guest, do you know?
Well, good news, she's on her way.
Oh, good, okay.
She's running late, so
sure is.
We thought hey, I'm taller than you. Did you ever notice that?
Well, that's because I'm growing older, and as you grow older, you shrink.
So I should be
I'm older than you are. See, when you hit your 70s, you start to shrink.
Oh, yeah. Great.
And
you lose weight?
No, I don't lose weight. I wish I did. I have to fight to lose weight.
Which is a good segue to this. We did a pre-weigh on Reed before he left for his vacation, and when we, I don't know, should we tell him?
Well, they say on the ship,
post-weigh-in.
They say on the ship, we weigh you before you get on, and then we weigh you when you get off. You got to pay the difference. And I went in at 169, and I came back at 182.
Holy mackerel!
That's 2 weeks on these ships, but the food is fantastic. You can't say no.
So the first tip of travel is, if you're going to have your annual checkup, take it before you go on a cruise, because your doctor will have a fit if you have it when you get back.
I will also say recommend that you diet before you go.
Yeah, that's
so
that's
take
a
off
good
some
thought.
weight first, which is
Right.
what I had done.
Right.
My normal weight's 180, which is too much.
Right.
But I dropped down to 169, which gave me a little bit of leeway. Okay, we got Doc Hamels here, and we're just going to talk about. Now, you've been traveling a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you go?
Well, Barb and I, we've traveled quite often. We've been all over the place, and one of the things that we're looking at right now is getting into the Mediterranean again. A lot of folks like yourself do the Caribbean.
Oh, yeah.
It's not too far away.
Well, you can take cruise ships all over the Mediterranean,
gosh,
too.
yes.
These gorgeous cruise
Absolutely.
ships.
And I know you do, Norwegian, and we've been doing Princess.
Uh-huh.
But it's like Chevrolet and
They're all
Ford.
the same. They have
Very
a
similar.
formula,
Right.
which all the cruise lines basically go by. The cabins are the same size. They're actually prefab. They check them in.
You can't tell the difference.
And the food is about the same.
Right.
They have the same stuff. It's what I would call cafeteria gourmet.
But Reed makes a great point. If you are going there, you got to realize that there are all kinds of good foods, and a lot of times I know that the people, especially for the first-time cruisers, they go in the first couple days and they eat, and they don't realize the food's going to be there 24/7. I mean, you can eat any time of the day, right?
Yeah,
pizza at 2 o'clock in the morning.
4 in the morning. They
Right.
always have a restaurant that's open, at least on NCL, most of them do.
Right, yeah, same.
And incidentally, the only reason I prefer NCL over all the others is cheaper.
Sure.
It runs about $200-300 less than
Right.
anybody else, including
Sure.
the whole bunch of them, Princess and the
Carnival and all
the Carnival's a good line too, I might add. But again, you're going to pay a little more.
Right.
I don't know how Norwegian does it.
Yeah.
I guess Norway's cheaper or something up there.
I have no idea. But the point is here, as Reed says, is when you're going to do a trip, is plan ahead of time, because you're going to pay more if you wait closer to the time you want to make a particular scheduled trip. But if you can go 6 months, 8 months out, and you work with the company, a lot of times they'll give you, like you said, a few $100s off per person. They'll give you onboard credit and you say, well, what are you going to do with that? There's a lot of side trips that you can take, right?
Sure.
So if you, let's say, well, let's use the Caribbean, for instance. If you down in St. Lucia, you want to go into the rainforest, maybe it's going to cost you $75, $80, $90 a person to take a guided tour all day, and it usually includes a meal or something like that. So you can use that credit, so that would pay for one of your trips.
Another
right?
credit that is unforeseen, which by beginning cruisers, is the quote service charge.
Right.
They hit you for $10 to $12 a day in service charges. And each of you, so if there's 2 in the cab, you're going to be paying $24 a day. In many cases, you got a kid there, $36 a day. I mean, bang, it runs right up. And that's for every day you're out. So suddenly you got over $100 in just these quote service
Before
charge.
you even get to step on the ship, right?
Yeah, and so you can use it to pay that off. You can go to the casino and
Try to double it.
throw it away. Oof. But you can have a lot of fun with it. And also, if you're on Norwegian, they give you the cruise rewards, but you got to sign up for $260 for your next payment on your next trip. But you have 4 years for it. But you can use it to pay that. The
That's right.
$250 you're laid out.
There's little tricks of the trade.
Yeah.
One of the things that people don't realize on their first cruise ship trip is beverages. And I don't know what it's like for you guys, but I'll give you an example. We don't drink alcohol as a rule, and I don't drink Coca-Cola, things like that. I'm like an iced tea guy, water, milk, whatever, hot tea. But Barb prefers, a Diet Coke. Well, when you get on the ship, they give you a little credit card, because there's no cash is ever exchanged on these ships, ever. It's all credit card type thing. And what you find out is when you want a Coca-Cola or a 7-Up or ginger ale, you give them your credit card. Well, I forgot what it's cost. I don't know, maybe like $3. Well, that really adds up when you're on a cruise.
You bet it does.
And one of the things you might want to think about is when you get on a ship, they'll have a special little something or other, a little sticker they put on your card, and you pay a flat fee. I'll make this up.
$50.
35, 45, 50 bucks. But you can drink all the soft drinks you want for the whole time you're on the ship.
Yeah, and my kids, they do it.
Yeah,
They make their money. They drink their drinks worth.
That's right. So that's something to think about.
Yeah.
And also, where was I going to go with this? When you are traveling, remember that you're going to pay for your cruise. So as Reed says, maybe it's $1,500 was a person.
Oh, actually, per person, Norwegian.
Well, it depends,
A week cruise to Bermuda with your discounts, runs about $1,150.
All right, so let's say
$500, well, about $600 a person.
Okay, but you got to add in air flight.
Well, that's the point. If you go very far, you're going to have to, like it's going to cost you almost $100 to get down to New York by Amtrak or by the Megabus, which I take. I'm so insulted by the TSA people that don't know. They couldn't mow their own lawn unless they didn't. If they have a relative in government, they suddenly become one of these officials.
Well, anyways, so if you're of course you're going to sail into the Caribbean to go to New York City, that's added cost. In my case, if we go to the Mediterranean or other parts of the world, because you can cruise anywhere just about. Now you got to add expensive.
You must get free airfare. Huh?
well, no, not necessarily. You sometimes get reduced, or you could use your frequent flyer miles and things like that. But there's all kinds of gimmicks that you can work. Another trick of the trade is use your credit card. For instance, our Visa. If you charge your trip, you